For the 49ers, we knew this was coming. It's felt like it was coming for a year now because last year when they were talking about Brandon Ayuk possible destinations and the Steelers were involved, all of a sudden, right before the draft, it went from Brandon Ayuk to Deebo Samuel.
Yeah, Deebo's out there, right.
Yeah, so, and that died down, but it's like, all right, well, we know that Deebo is on the endangered species list in San Francisco, and now he's out, and John Lynch hasn't ruled out the possibility of trading Brandon Ayuk, and then, look, the time to trade Brandon Ayuk was last year. Now that he's got the big contract with injury guarantees this year and next year, and he's coming off the torn ACL, like if he was a free agent this year, he'd have to do a one-year deal and prove he's healthy.
Right.
No one's going to sign up for a multi-year commitment, and next year, 2026, becomes fully guaranteed as of April 1. No one's signing up for that. But it just shows you that they're really thinking about turning the page in a big way on some of the big names that have been a big part of that team. With Samuel out and Ayuk, if they could find someone to take him, but they're not going to find someone to take him. And as you said, I don't know how healthy he's going to be. So it's basically Juwan Jennings and Ricky Pearsall for now. And obviously George Kittle, but at the tight end position. But receivers, you got Juwan Jennings and Ricky Pearsall, and who knows what they got after that.
Yeah, I mean, it is pretty amazing. We know McCaffrey will be a big part of the pass game, too, if he's healthy and can stay healthy. It's going to be interesting to see what they do here going forward. I feel like they were reluctant last year to want to pay Brandon Ayuk, right? It felt like a little bit of a desperation move when it was all said and done. Like, we're good. I don't know what to do. Let's pay him because we can have a chance to still go to the Super Bowl. That's what it felt like. But we heard how we saw during training camp, we talked about it at the time. I mean, they weren't crazy. Players on their team weren't crazy about how Brandon Ayuk was handling the situation altogether. He was definitely part of a distraction. He admitted that. He said he wanted to be traded. They found him trading people. Then he backed out of that, and he made life very hard on them. So I from that aspect, if you're in business and if I was working for the 49ers, I'd be a little bit like, man, Brandon Ayuk, I'm not sure. That's just how I would feel. And then, yeah, you couple that with the ACL injury, and maybe they finally have come to the realization here that, wait, we're not going to win the Super Bowl this year, so let's start making moves so we can get back in that picture maybe 2 or 3 years from now. Let's rip the Band-Aid off on some of this stuff. I don't know where they're going to go. And I know everybody thinks I have these answers all the time because of Shanahan, and I don't. I promise you. I would be more clear about what I'm saying if I had these answers. But this is intriguing, especially like you said with the knee issue and all of that. It makes it a little more complicated.
They got to hope some of these other guys that they have, and they got Juwan Jennings for a very affordable contract.
Amazing.
And there was a stretch in Super Bowl 58 where it's like, Juwan Jennings might be the MVP. Right? Remember that?
Well, that's why I think you can't pay Deebo Samuel $17 million a year in your current situation, too, because, hey, let's bring up Deebo Samuel's stats from the last few years, guys, on that graphic, if you can, one more time. Because, you're saying it right. Hey, last year in big moments, when they had to go to a guy, they went to Juwan Jennings. He was the go-to guy after Brandon Ayuk got hurt, and they started to settle in. So, but no, more specifically, the Deebo Samuels the last few years, guys, the one we had 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and how this one here. Look at this, Mike. I mean, again, 2021 was amazing. But the years after it, that doesn't scream top-notch, top-of-the-market wide receiver. That's not what that says right there. And I know you can add a few rushing yards onto that, but really, at the last 3 years, to only have 1 year of over 1,000 total yards, which was 2023, again, that's where you look at it and you go, the age and the way he's played the game, it's a little scary, and you wonder if the production's going to fall off from here. So I understand the 49ers doing it, but yeah, they got some questions at receiver, Mike, that's for sure.
This is a prime example why teams that are destined to pay a guy and keep a guy need to move quickly to do it in the offseason, because one of the big reasons the 2022 numbers went down, he was pissed off and didn't do anything.
Agreed.
So when he showed up, he wasn't in shape.
Exactly.
Not the shape he needed to be in.
Right.
And it carried over into the season.
Yes.
And this gets back to the Cowboys dicking around. Archie.
Whoa. That was a new one. That was a new one.
Screwing around with CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb misses everything. Oh, it's no big deal. He's not going to play in the preseason anyway. That was the bull crap they were putting out there last year. No, it's not the issue. You want your guy to be ready. Deebo Samuel wasn't ready in 22, and he rebounded a bit in 23, and then last year, just like a bunch of stuff caught up with him. And that really is the question. Does Adam Peters have a crystal ball that tells him Deebo Samuel still got gas in the tank? Because you could make the argument that he's running out, that it's like one of those races where all the stuff's flying off as you get closer to the finish line, and is there enough to even get there? I don't know. They're taking a calculated risk here.
They are. You're exactly right. They are, and I think they're going with, like you said earlier, a guy that he knows. He knows how he's made, and we see this a lot too. Right? Oh, we think this guy might be done. And you get to the new team and you get re-energized and there's a new message and you realize, man, they're so happy for you to be here and they want you to contribute and help and take this team over. So you feel that pressure and now you start to do maybe some of the little things you weren't doing in your comfortable spot, in your last spot on your last team. Now you're feeling all these kind of different emotions and you put yourself in a position to play your best football, right? We see this story a lot, and I think that's what they're going to hope for. They're hoping he can have the type of year where, yeah, it gets to the end of the year where they go, damn, we got him for a 5th-round pick, and okay, yeah, he wants more money now, but hey, that means everything went the right way. But it is a calculated risk, like you said. And on top of that, I don't think you could just leave him to be, hey, he's our other guy other than Terry McLaurin, like we were saying a minute ago, too. You got to have somebody else there to go along with him, and then you'll see the full magic of what Deebo Samuel, I think, can bring to the table for the Commanders football team.
And by the way, Juwan Jennings, last year, he signed a 2-year, $11.8 million deal. Not per year, total. He's making $5.9 million per season. They've gotten real value from him, and they're going to have to find some guys where they can get value as they do kind of an on-the-fly pit stop.
Yeah.
Where there are some guys that have been here, they're going to stick around. Like George Kittle's not going anywhere. George Kittle's still a great player, and they're probably going to try to extend his contract.
Yeah.
Brock Purdy,
Fred
obviously,
Warner.
they've decided he's the guy. Fred, like Nick Bosa, there are guys that are still part of the present and future, but this is one of the realities of having a team that has been in contention more often than not. There are going to be pieces that just don't fit anymore, and you got to hope that you can find others that you can patch onto the team and still be in the mix for a playoff berth, and then hope that by the time you get to the end of the season, you're able to go out and compete with the best teams in the conference. And we'll see if the 49ers can do it. They rebounded from their last non-playoff year with an NFC championship appearance in 21, right? Because 2020 was the year the wheels came off. And the wheels came off last year, but some of the wheels aren't going back on.
No,
that's the reality.
That's right. Yeah.
It's not like everybody's going to be healthy again. Let's just load the cannon and try it again. We're going to have some new pieces, and we better hope it works.
That's right. And it's I know you and I have discussed this, but I don't know. Everybody hasn't heard this. I've hit it on my podcast a little bit, but the 49ers are rare. They're rare. I mean, if you really break it down and look at it, right? It was a top 3 or 4 paid receiver in football in Ayuk. One of the top tight ends in football with Kittle. The top left tackle in football with Trent Williams. The top running back in football. The top defensive end and defensive player all together. A top 2 or 3 linebacker in Fred Warner and what he's being paid. A top 2 or 3 nickelback in Demondre Lemonnier, right? I think I just butchered his name. But again, it's rare.
You did.
It's rare to have that many guys on one team so far at the top at their position of average year per salary, right? We just named 6, 7 guys there that are top 2 or 3 at their position. They got to start trimming that fat and figuring out things here for the future. And I think that this was probably the first move, we're seeing along those lines with the Deebo Samuel trade.
You took Deommodore Lenoir and you mashed it into one name.
I did.
And overlap.
I did. I didn't think that was going to be coming out of my mouth this morning, and I didn't. I need to look at the word one more time.
But you're right. They've proven with Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, who have been there since 2017, they've proven that they can be a competitive team. And really, if they had just been a little bit better at quarterback, they might have won a Super Bowl or 2 by now. They've appeared in 2. And they came up against the guy they could have taken in 2017, but didn't, and that's the reason why they don't have 2 extra Super Bowl trophies. But they're still a threat if they can retool and then compete with the most talented teams right now in the NFC, specifically the Eagles and the Lions.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.